Imagine a world where a confrontation over a narrow waterway escalated into a global conflict, reshaping the geopolitical landscape and plunging the world into chaos. This is the story of what could have happened if the Suez Crisis of 1956 had escalated beyond the control of world leaders, marking a turning point in history and potentially altering the course of the Cold War. In the heart of the Middle East lies the Suez Canal, a vital artery for global trade and military strategy. In 1956, this narrow channel became the center of a dramatic showdown. When Egypt nationalized the canal, Britain, France, and Israel launched a military intervention to regain control. The world watched, teetering on the brink of a much larger conflict, as the Soviet Union and the United States were drawn into the fray, each threatening to escalate matters further. But what if they had? What if diplomatic resolutions had failed and the superpowers had resorted to force? The immediate consequence would have been a direct military confrontation between the United States and the Soviet Union. The Cold War might have turned hot, with devastating effects. Nuclear weapons could have been deployed as threats transformed into action, leading to unimaginable loss of life and environmental destruction. The Middle East would have been the epicenter of this conflict, but the shockwaves would have been felt worldwide. If the Suez Crisis had escalated, the United Nations' influence might have been severely undermined. Established to prevent such conflicts from spiraling out of control, its failure could have led to its irrelevance. Nations might have questioned the utility of international organizations, leading to a more fragmented world where might makes right. Furthermore, the decolonization process could have taken a different trajectory. The Suez Crisis was a pivotal moment for former colonies asserting their independence. An escalation might have delayed the process, as colonial powers, preoccupied with a larger conflict, clamped down harder to maintain control. Conversely, it could have accelerated the collapse of colonial empires, as the European powers found themselves too weakened by war to maintain their overseas possessions. The economic implications would have been profound. The Suez Canal's closure would have disrupted global trade, leading to economic downturns and shortages of goods around the world. Countries reliant on the canal for oil shipments would have faced energy crises, potentially hastening the search for alternative energy sources or leading to more conflict over oil-rich regions. In a world already scarred by 2 world wars, another major conflict in the 20th century would have left deep wounds on the collective psyche of humanity. The promise of a peaceful future, so dearly bought with the bloodshed of the previous wars, would have been shattered. While history took a different path, the what-ifs of the Suez Crisis remind us of the delicate balance of international relations and the importance of diplomacy in averting catastrophe. It is a sobering reminder that in the nuclear age, the cost of conflict can be the very survival of humanity itself.